You ready, old buddies?
Ready.
Fired up about this one, man. Obviously, we could have done it separate, but the fact that we're all together is pretty cool. So, Webb football and basketball coaches in the house. Webb School of Knoxville. Or is it like Webb Academy or something fancy?
And whatever you feel the most comfortable with, Lee, we'll go with.
Webb School
of Knoxville. There you go.
My guy. I love it. Well, I guess the first thing I would like to talk about is just how did you guys get to where you are? I know you've had some college coaching experience, a lot of college coaching experience. Coach Norris, you've been around. And like when you, obviously the minute that we don't have a Webb presence at Triple F Gym, we are a for-profit organization, regardless of no athlete left behind and how we try to take care of kids in this town that might not have the resources to be here. But the minute I have no Webb kids, we're probably in financial trouble around here. Let's just call it what it is. So the fact that that'll always be the case, as long as we keep doing our jobs and serving these families well, I will naturally hear about you two a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's just cool because I will never go down the rabbit hole of bashing a coach with a 16-year-old child. Mm-hmm. No matter what school it is in this town, these kids come in here, we do life with them, they start giving out their frustrations the same way pro athletes do. We're all human, right? We go home and tell our wives about the people we work with that we don't like. So they come here and they tell me. And the reason I wanted to do this with you two is if I hear something negative about one of you men, it's, man, he got on me today, or man, he got after me. It's never anti-Coach Mahoney, anti-Coach Norris ever, which is pretty cool, man, because I know both of y'all are hard-nosed, especially this wacko over here. Poor Webb, they didn't know what they were getting. Now they're stuck with him. They have to just keep winning games and loving on him, baby. I love it. But you're getting thrown out of games, which is awesome.
Well, we went there early.
Yeah, you got just enough wacko in you to still survive in a place like Webb. But it's cool that you guys are gritty, tough. There's culture. You're hard on them, man. It's freaking awesome. And they always come in here and rave about you too. So I'm glad you two are here together. It fires me up. So, Coach Norris, start with you. So give it to me, man. How did you end up right here, right now, Webb basketball?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of you to say those words about us. And obviously with Coach Mahoney joining our staff, it's been great. You know, he and I'll start there. Just we're blessed to have him at Webb. I mean, what a big shoes to fill. You know, filling Coach Meskey's spot after 40 years, and man, I couldn't think of a better guy to do it. And he's hit the ground running. He's got our football program going in the right direction, and he's easy to support. You know, and we work together. And you know, he's not just a colleague; he's a good friend. And you know, so I'm excited to also do this podcast with him. But you know, it's been fun to watch his year and the guys and how quickly they bought into him and how he does things, because it's different. Doesn't make it right or wrong, but you know, he does have a little wacko in him, and it's a good thing. So you know, we love Coach Mahoney, and we're excited about the future of the football program at Webb. My story, you know, I grew up in West Knoxville and went to Carnes High School, and to be completely honest, didn't know much about Webb. We didn't compete. We played him one time in football, and you know, did not know a ton. Played him a little bit in baseball, but went to Oak Ridge after college and coached there for 11 years with a 2-year stint at Harriman in between. And honestly, Coach, I was burnt out a little bit in coaching, and just everything that goes with coaching, not the actual basketball part, but just all the other stuff. And I was actually going to get out of it for a little while. And the opportunity, a friend of mine, make a long story short, friend of mine had a son at Webb, and they had an opening that came open. I had never thought about administration either. I was a PE teacher, ball coach, and he set me up with the president. We went over and toured, and it just felt right. You know, we all have those moments where you're like, okay, I got my energy back, and went into administration and was the dean of students for 12 years, and you know, got into the basketball program. We had just went at Webb. They had went from the large division, competing against Innsworth, Brentwood Academy, and all those schools, to the small division in single A, probably where we fit at that time a little bit better. And we got lucky. We were fortunate. We got a couple of kids. We had Dwight Tarwater and Donovan Whiteside, who were college basketball players. My first year was their senior year. And so I was fortunate, kind of like Coach Mahoney. He had a big senior class that kind of led his team. I was lucky in that regard. And so we had a good first year, and then we just got fortunate and got a couple of other key players that bought into Webb and kind of the mission of the basketball program. And, then we've been lucky since then and continued to get players. And, we just coach basketball. I mean, it's a blast and very supportive community and parents. And like you said, early on when I came from Oak Ridge, I was like, how hard can I coach these guys, because you're in a new spot and you're thinking, I'd heard a lot of stuff about what the private school, I'd never been to private school, never been involved and was a little bit intimidated by it and kind of what can I do here? And man, I mean, you said it earlier today, kids want discipline and they want to be challenged and pushed and they want a high bar. And it's no different here, man. I've loved my time. My energy's back. I could not see myself not coaching. Webb's the right place for me. So, man, just really, really lucky the kids and the people that I've come in contact with have really, blessed my life in a big way. So, it's a great place, man. Love it.
Man, oh man, tough act to follow.
Well, I'm glad that he mentioned about my style of coaching because I'm going to share about his with basketball.
Hey, go ahead and kiss his butt before you start.
No. This is really this is interesting. So we talking about our path. I last year was the season before was my first year coaching high school football, and I got a chance to meet Coach Norris and the other coaches and working under Coach Meskey in high school football for the first time. Well, hey, Coach Norris is coaching our receivers. I said, okay, well, he's basketball.
I forgot about that.
So what? Stay with me. So he's coaching receivers, and he's basketball and his history and success and all that. I'm like, okay, well, he's laid back receivers coach. Really,
I didn't know what I was doing.
So as it goes, as we finish our season, and I'm like, hey, I want to go watch basketball, and I want to see our basketball team that's really good, and I want to see Coach Norris have success and so forth. And I'm at the basketball game, and I'm like, who is this guy on the sidelines? He is going nuts. I'm like, I get this job. I want to hire him as a defensive, co-coordinator or whatever. I mean, he was absolutely out of his mind, coaching the guys, getting after him, calling a timeout. But in a way, though, too, as I always feel, is you look at a coach, TV, high school, whatever, college, would I want to play for him and see their style and see who they are? That's him. I've been around his players and their culture in the weight room and just, as hard as you coach them, you got to love them just the same. As I think that's my philosophy of things. If the kids know that, they see that, they realize it, and they feel it. But that was in a way that it just caught my eye and attention that I love his intensity. Like he just, and the players play like that. But the path for me was just that. I've coached college all my life. That's all I've ever done. And last year I had a chance to coach the offensive line in high school. And people have said to me, would you ever coach high school? No way, never. I don't have the patience for that. No way. It was the best time last year for me. And on top of that, I was doing something outside of football that I've been doing really all my life that it wasn't fulfilling. It was really not a good spot and a good place for me in my life. Coaching last year, the O-line at Webb, 2 seasons ago, was the most fulfilling to me because, A, the people, the staff, the experience, and the love that I have that I missed. So this opportunity came about to be the head coach, seeing, as I've been saying, the blueprint of high school football, practicing at Webb, the timetable that the players have, the amount of players that we have, all those things that go with it really set itself up for me and a great senior class, as Coach mentioned, about to have the situation, the success that we had, and a lot to build on. But this is it for me. This is the love that I have for what I want to do with just pouring into kids, teaching, any support, all that. But as to Coach's point, the thing about Webb to me is so special is that the the players, but also the families that we've got to know that I just think are different. And that's our motto. We're different. And, I'm not going to make any bones about it. We're different. And that's the motto for us and what we feel and what we want our kids to be and how we live and what we do. And that's why it makes it special.
Man, fires me up. My wife always tells me, she's like, that's not normal. I mean, if I hear that once, I've heard it a million times. And I'm like, babe, if I ever surprise you, let me know. Like, you signed up for this ride. And the minute I act normal, please punch me in the head because something's wrong with me. But absolutely, man. Who wants to be normal? It's not the way to truly grow. And I don't mean to be a crazy maniac, but that's the one thing I thought about, man. When I was at the end of my career, and a lot of my buddies, I had a 13-year-old son and a 11-year-old daughter, a 9-year-old. I mean, I was more in line in life with the coaches than I was my teammates. Now, my teammates were my guys, but Kyle Pitts was 20 years old. Was the 4th pick in the draft, and I'm going to middle school football games, right? So, and Kyle Pitts at 20 doesn't have a middle schooler, believe it or not. So I'm there at the games, the general manager's son's on my son's team, and it's just a different life for a vet that has older kids. And kind of asking me, hey, man, you should coach, come coach for me, come coach with me, come do this, come do that. And my first thing is, like, if you think I'm drawing cards as a GA, that ain't happening. Like, you want to start me as a tight end coach? Maybe. Well, yeah, okay. No. Actually, I said maybe. No, I lied. And no chance. I'm not doing it. And the reason is the money would be great and all those things, but you don't get to truly impact kids. And somebody told me one time, they're like, every day impress the 8-year-old Lee Smith and the 80-year-old Lee Smith. And if you impress both those people every day, you will be a happy sucker. And it's like, all right, 8-year-old Lee Smith just dreamed of being a pro ball player. 80-year-old Lee Smith, I don't think he's going to care how much money he has in the bank, but when he considers the lives he changed and the people he impacted, and that's high school sports. It's the only place you can truly do it. No, only place in athletics, in my opinion. That it's the age of the boys, man. They're so moldable, and they're looking like. Listen, Brody Smith, Brock too, a little bit. My 12-year-old you just met. Brody, you talk to him, man. For some reason, he freaking hears it more than when I do. It tunes me out. So, like, how awesome is it that we get to be that person that sideboards all these dads? And hey, by the way, might not be dad. We're all they got.
Yeah.
And it's freaking awesome. Anyways, sorry, there's my rabbit hole. You guys fire me up. Get me on. All right, I digress. Sorry. All right, let's just punch this thing right in the face. All these coaches trying to get people to play one sport. Talk to me about it.
Jeez.
I mean, Coach, I'll go. Growing up when we grew up, that wasn't ever the case, obviously. We played as many sports all the time, and you went from one to the next, and there just wasn't carryover. It's a fight that I think as high school coaches we're still fighting, to allow kids to play as many sports as they want. But it does seem like we're swimming upstream a little bit because I feel like we're in it by ourselves, like the AAU and the 7-on-7 and those guys. And I don't want to paint with a broad brush because there are people that are absolutely out for the best interests of the kids. That's not what I'm saying, but they're out for their team and their organization, and what can they do to see that place grow? And a lot of times it comes at the cost of the young person. And and I wish that we could educate everybody who's involved on the benefit, like the benefits of a kid playing football who's also a basketball kid. We could go into it, the lesson, but also the actual athletic part of it. How they grow as an athlete by playing football or baseball or soccer or swimming or whatever, and it actually makes them a better basketball player rather than just going on hardwood for 12 months a year, beating their bodies up. They only learn because they're on one team to play one role, like they're either the alpha or they're a role player or whatever, instead of putting them in different spots. I mean, there are just so many advantages to playing multiple sports, but it does, Coach. It feels like a little bit as high school coaches, we don't have an issue with each other. And I think some schools do. I think there is a draw and a fight between coaches, which is selfish as all get out. We've never had that. Luckily, Coach Meskey set that tone a long time ago that we want kids that want to play multiple sports to do it. And Coach Mo and I, our friendship says enough, and Coach Worms and all of our coaches at Webb. But it's not the coaches in our school that we have a hard time figuring it out with. It's the others. And, and I hate when a young student athlete gets put in a spot to make a choice. I think that should be the adults that figure that piece out, and we figure out a way to make it happen to where if a student wants to play 2 sports or even 3 sports, that we figure out a way to make it happen. And I'll one more thing, and I'll be quiet. But I'm really seeing it now. I have a young son. I have an older daughter who's in college. I have a junior at Webb, and then I have a little 9-year-old boy. And man, it's at his age, the ridiculousness of sports and athletics and trying to get kids to specialize. It's a joke. And that you said something earlier, but that would be the thing with my kid that would frustrate me is if anybody ever tried to get him to lean to one sport early on, we'd be done, right? We'd walk away. And so we've been lucky. We've had good ones, but man, you've got 9-year-olds that are, in the cage for 8 months, and it's just, anyway, but we could go on and on. I do not like that part of where athletics is going.
I just, going back to recruiting, back to the college days, I loved recruiting a guy that, what else are you playing?
So sorry to interrupt you. I got all my Power 5 football scholarship offerings after they came and watched me play what?
Yeah,
Basketball.
Yeah.
Right.
Probably playing Oak Ridge. Probably if you beat us up.
Yeah, it's and all the things I was able to do, track the ball on a rebound. It was no different in high pointing a seam than going and snatching a rebound. Like
we recruited Eric Fisher when I was at Central Michigan, the #1 overall pick of the Kansas City Chiefs. We were the only offer he had in Eastern Michigan. He committed to us early in the process. We went and watched him play basketball at the latter stages of the recruiting, in which was about a week away from the signing period. We literally were sitting in the gym watching him box out underneath at 6'6", 6'7", and we were looking and hoping that Michigan State and Michigan wasn't in there because they would have signed him. How loose he was and how athletic he was. #1 overall pick because of basketball. But I love guys that play other sports, especially in the recruiting piece. But as far as this, too, we just finished our season. I asked a couple of our guys, hey, I'm excited to watch you play baseball. And one guy's like, I don't know if I'm going to play. I said, yes, you are. It's your senior year. I said, I just think it is so healthy that guys play other sports. The biggest thing, and the coach's point, is that I think it's important as parents that if they are involved in other sports, how they're making sure their time is being spent well. Be it at a place like Webb academically, that's getting handled, but also the piece that fits in line with you and with us of the time that we can get to develop them. If they are multiple sports, where are they having a chance to truly develop? If it's, gaining muscle mass, all of that. But I love guys playing other sports. I went to watch, besides you saying about jumping and high point and all that, I want to see how they interact with teammates, how they react to coaching. Are they coachable? What kind of, attitude are they? Hostile environment in a basketball arena against a rival, how they play and how they react, and all that stuff's valuable, and it's just healthy for kids to continue to compete. I love that and the opportunity that's there for them. And we've talked about this, are just making a push with a lot of things that we have going on at our place, especially with our new athletic center, it's being built and so forth, that we are going to improve and build upon our kids developing. And then also with things that are done here with you, but just the kids are able to develop.
Yeah. Listen, man, everything we do here, just like we tell you guys and any other coach we try to support in town, is like we just want to be the supplement, man. In the end, it says train like a pro. Like I wanted this place to be like pro athletics, but it's like I walk in the building, I go to my locker, then I walk down the hall and I get my breakfast. Then I walk down the hall and I go to meetings. Then I walk down the hall and I get my ankles taped. Then I get in the hot tub. Then I get in there's not one person that didn't know what I was doing that day. They were all tied in. They had their meetings. The strength coach never was unaware what the practice schedule looked like. Mm-hmm. He always knew when the coach was going to load us and hit us more and put pads on us. So he built the training and workout plan around the practice because football comes first, not the weight room, right, in the NFL. Whereas around here, it's hard for us. I don't know. I mean, I can ask Cam and those boys, like, hey, man, what'd y'all do today? When him and Taj come over and make sure they're straight. Like, they come over, we're not doing the whole workout. Like, y'all just left back, and Cam wants to. That's the problem. Is I got to fight him to help him.
Right.
And it's like, nah, bro, we're gonna taper back. You literally you still have your basketball shoes on, for God's sakes. You came straight here. Like, we're not doing the whole hour and 15-minute grind. You just had a 2-hour practice, you goofball.
Yeah.
But, like, we have to talk to them, which is cool. But then they're so stinking busy.
Yeah.
And 7-on-7 has become AAU basketball.
Yes.
That's what it is. And in the past, your football kids were the kind of easiest to get access to because they didn't play out of season.
Yeah.
And now 7-on-7 has become it's banana land.
Yeah.
And and we'll be a part of it and try to help do it the right way and have a God element to it as we do everything here and try to serve the Lord. But just like you were talking about, you got that burst of energy. It's crazy how God has perfect timing.
That's right.
You know what I mean? But in saying that, none of these kids are going pro. Public service announcement. Like, families in Knoxville, Tennessee, I realize you want to post on Instagram that your son hit a home run or scored a touchdown, and the highlight of your life is your kid's athletic journey when they're 13. I get it. No problem. That's awesome. Good for you. Enjoy it. But they're not going pro. Maybe 5 kids in this town right now, period, will go play professional athletics in every sport. So it's like, why not let them, for the only 8 years in their life they get to play sports with their buddies, play more than one? Like, it's the experience, man. I don't like baseball. I finally said, why am I letting this dude throw this freaking ball at me as fast as he can? And I don't know if it's going to hit me. I don't know if it's going to hit my foot or my head. And I'm going to swing at it, and I'm only going to hit it 30% of the time. I don't like this, the game of failure. Like, me and Jan Gomes talk about that all the time. It's crazy, the mindset. Like, a football player can't handle the game of baseball sometimes mentally. It's just so different. Whereas basketball, it's the best for most football guys. You see a lot of football, basketball guys. The wiring to run and hit people running full speed and then just stand in the outfield is 2 different kind of mental wirings. Yeah. So, but I played baseball as a kid. Man, my dad wanted me playing everything. And eventually I said, I'm just going to play basketball and football. Brody Smith is playing basketball at Bearden. He's playing. Brock Smith is playing basketball at West Valley right now. They're playing basketball. They're playing something else if they want to wrestle, whatever, but mostly because I watch the smile on their faces, man. I watch them when they transition from their football teammates to their basketball teammates. It's a new locker room, new culture, new coach. Yeah. Guess what? You're going to have different leaders in life, whether it's your boss or the general manager where you work or whatever.
I think, Coach, just the experiences too. I think as coaches we need to humble ourselves from time to time and remember that the kids aren't going to remember. We're going to remember maybe a play or something we did, but they're going to remember the hotel room or the meal after the game or going to Waffle House after a bit. Like, that's what they remember. They don't remember, sprinting to help and, what I mean, taking a charge. They don't remember any of that. They remember all the other stuff. And that, to your point, you get to do it with different people and different teams, and those are the experiences that we all remember. Even probably you as a pro athlete, you're going to remember that as much or more than the games that you played in.
Yeah,
it's just like, to your point, it's exactly right. The tip-off deal the other night, watching Brody and some of the players just interacting. They are going from football to basketball, and it is like they're just watching them have fun with each other, and that experience and everything is just it's valuable. It's for the again, the kids and like Coach said, it's so important, and it's special at Webb because we do have that working relationship, and also the players' interest at heart with what each kid in their sports or struggles with track, all of our programs, baseball, Coach mentioned about, we all interact as coaches and talk about it. We talk about kids about, hey, so-and-so struggling at this, or maybe he's having success or whatever it is, but it's just healthy, the conversations that we have, and it's not any, it's just this sport. We work hand in hand with that.
Preach.
It's healthy.
Preach. And guess what? The more sports they play, the more good men are in their lives.
That's right.
The more leadership they get to learn. You probably lead a little different than he leads.
That's right.
That doesn't make you all right or wrong. Like, you skin cats a different way. Literally every tight end coach, every O-line coach, every head coach, like, I learned a different type of leadership from all those men, and then I molded triple F culture and what the way Lee Smith, not to talk in the third person like a weirdo, but like the way I want to lead this place came from other men I learned from. I didn't just wake up one day and say, this is how I want to lead. Yeah. I watched other men lead, and it's not that certain things I chose not to do were wrong, it just didn't fit my personality or the way I want to handle things. So these young people getting to be around more and more and more men and coaches and environments and teams and adversity and struggles and pressure moments, the life of pressure, the pressure of a male especially to provide and protect and take care of your family one day. Nothing against my girlies. They're tougher than us all day, every day. Thank God I'm a man. Lord help me. But all the things that athletics provide these young boys for. But the problem is right now in the baseball world, this is what I'm hearing from all the parents. And like I said, we're here to be the glue that just fills in all the cracks and gives them a godly place to grow as young people. I tell the parents all the time, man, when I pass your kid in Target in 20 years with his young family, I want him to say, hey, Coach Lee, or hey, dummy, I don't care. There'll be a man at that point. Triple F helped me be a better husband and father from the Bible studies or a conversation I had with Coach Rich or Coach Nate or Kevin, or when you guys were in the house just hanging out. We're giving away – John Feliciano gave away $5,000 worth of turkey dinners. They're down there in the gym right now to all our underprivileged families in town. He's playing for the San Francisco 49ers and calls me and says, hey, man, give away as many dinners as you can with $5,000. And, of course, Miss Jen East got in my pockets like she always does, but that's okay. But it's like I want these boys to see, like, hey, man, the 5 kids out there, I'm not trying to beat up on Knoxville. We just don't produce pro athletes like other cities do. It's a fact. It's getting better, and it's going to continue to get better, especially with the ability to develop them and people moving here. And, like, Knoxville sports right now is cranking up, man. It's fun. There's more Power 5 kids in this town than there were when I was growing up. That's so right. That 5 is going to turn into 10. It's going to turn into 15. But that's still, out of the 13,000 youth athletes in this town, 15, 20 kids is minimal. But I want them to see, man, if you make it pro, feed these families. Like, take care of people, do things the right way. So that's how I want everything to operate around here. But the one thing I hear the most is like, well, baseball especially, it's becoming a country club sport. Let me go buy a $400 bat for my kid to get 4 hits this year. It's like, and then by the way, next year, I got to donate it to Play It Again Sports for $50 because he outgrew it. And I've lived that life. This is personally speaking here. Now, my boys could hit it pretty good, but still, like, you have to have it's becoming golf, man. Like, you have to have the equipment. It's a $5,000 deal just to play baseball. Yeah. And these parents, they all say the same thing. Well, if all the other kids are just playing baseball and they're caging it 8 months a year and they're working year round, my kid's going to get behind if he plays football or basketball. So what would you guys say to that? All the other kids that are one-sport athletes are getting the skill work and the speed and agility, and they're doing all this while my kid's off playing football when really he's a baseball player, or vice versa. Yeah.
And I've thought about that actually, especially with the baseball thing, because Baseball's it's a skill. I think football, and y'all are football guys, but I think you take an athlete, they can go out for football when they're 13, 14 years old, as long as it's not a quarterback or skill, you know what I mean? And they can be pretty good quicker.
Let me interrupt you real quick.
Yep.
Antonio Gates will be in the Hall of Fame. He did not even play college football. Yeah. Like, there are plenty of guys with that story in the NFL basketball players. Like, you are 100% correct. Right. There's nobody in the MLB Hall of Fame that didn't play baseball most of their life.
Right.
So baseball is the weird one. So, like, those families, it's hard to argue that.
It is, but I just go back to coach. I think there is just a balance that you've got to find as an adult and your parent and a coach, and I would also say that too, kids that play so much early, what I see is they peak, right? Their room for growth when they get in high school is much smaller than somebody that maybe didn't play. So I don't think the end game, I don't know that it changes the end result by me not playing as much early. I think we can still get to this. I think, like my kid at 9, I don't want him to play 12 months a year baseball. But do I think as long as he does some of it, by the time he's in high school, I think he can get to the same place as some kid who is playing 12 months. As long as he develops as an athlete and all those things we talked about, your hand-eye, I don't know all the technical terms for it. But, I think he can get to the same spot because I think that his rate of growth when he gets older will be faster than somebody who played their whole life. You're not going to see the jumps from them when they get in high school. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we get to high school, I'm like, we should have hit 12 months a year. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't either.
No, but I also don't think there's a 16-year-old playing baseball for the first time ever in their life that's just going to turn it on and conquer high school baseball.
And I think baseball is different, and I think basketball is different. Honestly, you got to be able to shoot the ball, handle the ball, and pass the ball, and those things don't just happen because you're athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I think especially having a son that's a junior, and he just plays basketball, and that's his love. Now, would I want him to?
That's a different story when it's his decision.
But I mean, that's what I want to get to.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. No. Don't be getting all fired up over there. Calm down, big fella.
Hey, there's something getting around him. I get fired up, man. It's like I'm mad the table so far because usually we're doing some demo stuff. But no, you know what? It's you brought up the point about well, my son needs to be in baseball. My son needs. What does your son want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's first and foremost. Like again, our son is basketball. That's his love. He tried football. I've never pushed any sport on him. I want my children to do what they love to do. Well, that's first and foremost. Now, the other things that they want to maybe do along the way is that I think they start to figure it out. Like if, in the case of Brody, he's excellent in football, basketball, and, has a bright future. What's it going to be? Keep doing both. He's not getting behind. Baseball's the one I will agree because of the hand-eye coordination, the time that goes with it. Again, how much – my question to him is son or daughter, because it's softball, say, how much do you love that? Is that really what you want to pour everything into? Because you're going to miss out on some other things, but if that's your true love, then there's the time spent in there. At the end, it still boils down to that child. What do they really love and want to do?
I think maybe it's – I think the biggest – because we all agree baseball is the weird one. Like we all can agree on that. But I think maybe the problem is, and the more we sit here and talk it out, I think the problem is the decision's so dang young.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue.
Like a lot of other decisions that we allow kids to make that they're not ready to make.
100%.
We can go into that, but
that,
you know what I mean?
That rabbit hole take another hour.
Yeah, but I think you're exactly right, Coach. I think there is a time that's appropriate where, because when they're young, they just have more success at one than the other. They think that's the one they want to play, right? And that's not the value that sports provides. They need to experience some failure and some growth through that. But
well, I think the thing that we run into that is unlike, at least at 54, my age, wasn't the case, was when you were in that sport, that's the sport you were in at that time. Now I'm seeing a lot of cases where you're in a sport of, say, football, and people are being pulled during football for this, and this.
Yeah.
Basketball's going on, and kids are being pulled for baseball, hitting, pitching. Well, you know what I mean? You're not focusing on that one thing. So you got a young man that's in school, and he has a full day of school. He has a full day of practice. Maybe comes to work out after. He's got homework to do, and then there's another sport pulling at him going, hey, let's get some hits in the cage tonight. Yeah. Kids are worn out. They're not being kids, and they're not enjoying the moment of the sport that they're in because they're being pulled in so many directions. And that's where we as parents have got to come in and say, no, this is what you're focusing on right now.
Coach, I want to ask you all this because we had a situation with NIL and how this plays into it. When you talk about 7-on-7 and football, it's no different than AAU, but rankings, publicity, all that, and when parents tie that into NIL money, when kids are getting offered money when they're in high school, as a high school coach, do I tell them, no, you can't go do that, right? I mean, they're going to go to some 7-on-7 in Myrtle Beach or Las Vegas or wherever they all play, and if it's tied into their ranking, which unfortunately I don't know how it is, but I guess it is, right? And then that ranking is tied into NIL. How do you, as a high school coach, take that away? I mean, I think, and it just trickles down. It's kind of I don't know. I don't have the answer.
So I'll go on. Oh Lord, you've done stoked the fire now. All right, here's the deal. It's a bunch of crap.
Yep.
All right, it's a bunch of crap. Now listen, there are certain kids in this country. Nico is over here at Tennessee now. He was making $2 million a year sitting in a high school classroom in California.
Right.
All right, like that $180,000 a month or whatever. Nico, shout out to you, old buddy. Good for you. I love it. I was donating plasma as a college athlete while they were selling my stinking jersey in the team store. All right, and they couldn't give me $100 back then to take my family or to pay my car payment, which I didn't want their money. Yeah. I did actually. I'm lying, but they wouldn't give it to me, and that's fine because I'm the one that decided to have a wife and kids, and I donated plasma to make sure we were good. It is what it is. So they've completely pulled their pants down now, the NCAA has, and it's become a mess. Transfer portal and NIL all at the same time. But when it comes to NIL, it's more for the parents to feel special, my friend. These kids ain't getting any money to go to a 7-on-7. There's no money in 7-on-7 public service announcement. Right. There's just like there's no money in AAU basketball. Basketball and football are the poorest sports. There's money in it if you do it on a grand scale and you own the venue and you can host tournaments and do all these things. But having an AAU basketball team or a 7-on-7 football team, the best players typically don't have the deepest pockets in those two sports. Whereas if Scott Stallings, it's hard to become a pro golfer if you didn't grow up in a country club playing golf. It's hard to be a pro baseball player from America anyways if you didn't grow up with the $400 bat. So these people with their NIL deals, it's more about the new world we live in of posting it online than it is financial growth. They're not getting I see all these I'll put my man Trevor Duncan, Tennessee O-line. He's my buddy, and it was Trevor. Who else was it? I'm trying to think. Bubba Jeffries. That's who it was. Trevor and Bubba Jeffries. They were here last year. They want an NIL deal. I'm like, boys, I can call 10 NFL offensive linemen and defensive linemen right now to come down here and take pictures and walk around my gym. What makes you two think I'm going to give you any money for NIL? I don't need you. Bubba, you're going to Indiana. No one in Knoxville cares about Indiana. Yep. Bubba Jeffries, Indiana offensive lineman who's on the bench, NIL. No one cares. That's not helping my business grow, Bubba. Trevor, I love you. If they gave you NIL money to sign you in the new – listen, I got a Power 5 football player in my house. I'm going to wear out this NIL program. I am. It's a business now. It's like NFL free agency, guys. It's bananas. And I'm going to try to help him do some cool things for himself as a college athlete financially that we couldn't do when I was a college athlete. But – no one's giving these high school kids real NIL money unless they are LeBron James. Yeah,
but I think that's the fight we're fighting, right? We fight that because it's so new and nobody's educated on what's actually going on, right? And so I think Coach can speak to this too. it's just challenging.
Well, let's say right now I wanted an NIL Cam. Cam's a pretty good player. He's a member here. Let's say I wanted an NIL Dom. Anybody. We can do an NIL deal with Triple F Elite Sports Training and said kid, and I can give them a free T-shirt and a Gatorade, and they got an NIL deal with Triple F. It's a joke.
Right. That's right.
But on their social media platforms and their parents and their post away, oh my gosh, you got an NIL deal. Yeah, it's bogus. Yeah. Whereas the Spire Sports and the new actual Power 5 system, all it is, guys, is it's paying players is all it is. Right. The boosters are dumping money into something and they're funneling it out to the players, because the NCAA pulled their pants down, and it's freaking awesome. I love it. Good for them. It's a little out of control, but if the kids are going to handle it right and do things the right way, 100,000 people show up to watch you run around and hit each other, you should be paid for it. So. But at the same time, it's crazy land. But you're going to be fighting it forever, man. It ain't going to get any easier. Not with the phones and all the things. But I don't. Sometimes I feel like I'm anti-fan and anti-parent. I'm not. I love these people and I want to do life with them. But I wish I could just educate them on But even I had a dad call me the other day. His kid will play from Atlanta. Obviously, Atlanta football is a little different than Knoxville, to say the least. And these parents will call me from our time there in Atlanta. We lived in Gwinnett County in Buford, right down the street from the Falcons facility in Flowery Branch. Buford has 20 Power 5 kids on the team every year, probably, at least. These parents will call me, and they're going through the same recruiting process that I'm going through right now with Brody. and it's not their fault. They have no idea. And the people they trust, that's the problem, is the people they trust. The people they're trusting and the people that are telling them things, and they are doing everything they can, bro, to do what's best for their kid.
Yep.
They just don't know. They don't know that it's bogus. So I don't know, man. Good luck.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what do you say when parent says, hey, listen, my son has a wonderful opportunity in Myrtle Beach to get some exposure, and it's NIL, and his passion.
And that's what they believe, and it's their kid. You know what I mean? We're going to clip this out and play it back.
Right. And that's my thing is like they are, and once again, there are a lot of parents that just want to post their kid's home run. There's a lot of parents that just want to post the touchdown.
Right.
But and they obviously want the NIL. They'll do whatever just to post it, whether it's bogus or not. But the vast majority of parents are just out here trying to do what's best for their kid. Right. They just don't know because they didn't play pro football. They didn't coach college athletics. They haven't been in coaching their whole life. So and anytime there's something this new, no one knows.
Yeah.
I mean that's I got a call the other day. How to NIL, and I'm like, bro, here's how you get NIL money. You dominate on the field. Like, I keep going back to Brody because he's my kid, but like it's like he asked me NIL. I'm like, let me explain to you how NIL works. You become the best tackle in the country. You call Alabama and say, I want X amount of dollars. They say, okay. Then you call Tennessee and you say, Alabama said they'll pay me X amount of dollars. And Tennessee says, I'll pay you more. And then you call Georgia. And then like, you are the best tackle in the country. So therefore you just keep raising the price until the price stops raising. That's how NIL works. It's essentially NFL free agency now. Not the Triple F T-shirt and Gatorade. Yeah. Like that's like it's a joke. It's laughable, bro. It's crazy, and it's just banana land. And maybe it's a couple $1,000, and there's some cool stuff that you can do for high school kids. Here, let's just call a spade a spade. There's parents out there that need financial help. And let's say you're at a prominent school or whatever, especially some of these big Nashville schools that are allowed to recruit and do different things. Now, they can get creative with NIL because they can essentially make sure these families can be at their school. Right. And then they can cheat the system with NIL instead of the school paying them or whatever, which all ends up working out. But so there's some ways there, but we won't go down the rabbit hole. You lost one this year. We won't talk about that. I'm sure you didn't move over there for free, but it is what it is. It's a reality. It's the world we live in. Like, and you can do that now with NIL. Mm-hmm. You can. Yeah. So it's a wild world how they can pay teenage kids to play ball and do things. But anyways, all right. Sorry, we went on a tangent. It makes me mad because the kids are in the middle of the mess. Yeah. All right, Webb. All the rich people, stuck up, yuppies, they think they're better than everybody else, but for some reason they have two wild men as their coaches. One sounds like he grew up in the sticks. One, I don't even know what to say besides I love you. But like, all our Webb kids here, man, like I'll admit, even me, coming back to Knoxville, I'm like, I would never send my kids to Webb. Yeah. Because I don't want them to be in that elitist environment. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then every stinking Webb kid we get in here is the exact opposite. And it's like, and I know every school has their kids that are running wild and doing things, and you know the things that attack high school kids, especially kids that might have resources and nice cars to drive around. You know, they have access to more things, but just because they shouldn't be punished for having access to more things, right? Kids make dumb decisions. Kids do stupid things. That's what kids do. But man, our Webb kids have been awesome. So just a little bit about the culture over there. When the perception is that it's just this elitist, it's $25,000 a year to go to school there. They think they're better than everybody else, but that's from all the kids we have here and being around you two guys now since I got back, it's just not the case.
Yeah, I'll let you start because I've obviously not as long at Webb, but I'll give my snapshot.
Yeah. Lee, kind of the same thing with me. You know, that was my perception. Like I told you, I was at Oak Ridge. I never saw myself at Webb. And, you know, when I actually gave it a chance and came on campus and got to meet the people there, instantly changed my mind. You know, I think that's easy, especially in the sports world. I think that's an easy go-to for people, you know, when you're trying to get kids to come to your school and put that out on Webb. I think that's easy to go to, and I think it's easy to buy into. But when you actually are around Webb and you go and you experience it, like it's not that, And I think like every place, do we have that? Yes. I also think it's at the other, I won't call schools, but the other public schools and other private schools. Like that's everywhere you go. It's no different than alcohol, drugs, peer pressure, neglect, all those things. We're no different than those schools in that area. I think that the separation is that, most of the kids at Webb are driven, and they're around other driven people. And I think that I think that's how a lot of our kids excel, is because they're getting driven by their peers and their parents, and they just see success, And we all define success differently, no doubt. But I just think that's never going to leave. I don't think that perception will ever leave. When you charge the most tuition of any school in town, that's an easy go-to for people.
Yeah, by a long shot too. So
yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
It is what it is. It's reality.
And I think that, being in admissions for 2 years, I think that when people come and visit campus and they actually see that, man, this is a little bit different, right? There are things that we can offer that other schools can't because of that dollar. Mm-hmm. I think also that the word is out now that we also have a financial aid option. I think 15 years ago when I started at Webb, you thought everybody had to be rich to go there, and that's not the case. I think we're much more diverse than we were even 5 years ago. We've still got a lot of improvement to go in that area, but I think we're making strides. But that's always going to be the case. But I think it just takes giving it a chance and going out there and in every place, man, it comes down to people. It just comes down to people, and that's the part of it. That I enjoy, and that I enjoyed with Coach Meskey for so many years, was just the people that I get to be around each day. And I don't know your experience, Coach. You're less than a year now. I don't know if that was your, not being from here, if that was your perception coming in or not. But
I didn't know really what to expect starting as an assistant with the staff, with the players, and all that. But there was that in the Webb, and how much it cost to go there, and just some of the things that I had heard. And then starting coaching there, seeing kids, and this is where I based a lot of things that were interesting to me, was players that happened to be new at Webb, and how quickly they came into the family of team and the school itself. Like I started in March as there on a regular basis with the faculty and all that. And, I agree. I think it's everywhere in different schools of, personalities and so forth. But I felt very comfortable right from the get-go, from the faculty to the administration to even the students for that matter. So I think back to Coach's point, though, and why I say again, too, I think we're different, is I just think as much as anything, competing at Webb is the biggest in terms of academically, athletically. You can walk on campus right now, and some kids in between periods are playing spike ball, and it is an all-out, go get it, win it.
In a tie, baby, spike ball in a tie.
Exactly.
Where's y'all's tie at? Y'all get dressed like this to work?
No.
Man, we moved down to the athletic department. We don't have to do the whole tie thing anymore.
Yeah, but no, I think there's probably some circles of some friends that again is everywhere. And it's just, it's a matter of choosing the right people and the friends and all. But I just think it's a neat place on a lot of levels, and putting all those things aside, it's awesome. Well,
that's one thing. When I retired and Brody was going into his high school year, his freshman year, it was Bearden Catholic. That's kind of the decision we had made as a family, me and Alicia, and we were kind of teeter-tottering, right? And I went, and what I loved about Catholic when I first walked in the building for the little day or whatever that we kind of went down there and checked it out, was how diverse it was. Mm-hmm. And I didn't need to, ask people their parents' household income. I didn't need to, try to figure out which kids were which or anything like that. But I could tell that, like, man, there's a lot of different type of kids here. And I know that that's something that has improved at Webb. I can see it, even with our members here and being at games and different things, was pretty cool. Not to say that you can provide for a school by letting everybody come to school there for free. That's not realistic and rational. If you had a robotics department or something, for crying out loud, over there like that, it's expensive to do those things.
Yeah.
It's expensive to have the best teachers. It's expensive to do all. Just like here, I'm not going to ask for forgiveness for charging what we charge.
Yeah.
Like, we're the best. Sorry. Like, it's just the way it's going to be. So that's the one thing that I always tell my kids, and I'm sure what is it, the 5 people you spend the most time with? How do they, what is it, the 5, you end up with the same general income as them, the same general habits as them, the same general mindset, the same reaction to, like, whoever you spend your time with is typically the people that you're in line with. And when you're in a highly competitive environment with people that are smarter than you, people that are better at sports than you, people, like, everywhere I go, I want to be around people better than me or something. And if in that at Webb, you get that. And when I say elitist, like, you get to be around, folks that have done cool things in this town and had success, and that's what their kids' standard is and expectation. I remember when I was growing up, I won't use names, but I was in Halls, Tennessee. I'll tell you where it was. Back of a little holler in Halls, Tennessee, in a trailer, my buddy's trailer, single wide. And it wasn't a nice one. It wasn't one of them new Clayton homeboys. This thing had been sitting there a while, all right? Just freshly dropped off. And there were some pretty vicious things going on in the room next to me between my friend's dad and his mom, and, blah, blah, blah. And obviously, my father struggled with alcoholism at the end of his life, and et cetera, et cetera. So I remember thinking as a young, like, once I had my kids, like, and not beating up on my parents. My mom works here, and I love my mom, and my dad's been gone a long time. I loved him, but it's like, how could you ever put your child in that environment? Like, how could you ever let your child hear that, see that? Like, it's just, like, some folks sometimes, just drop their kids off on my front door. They don't ask to meet me. They don't ask if I'm a freaking weirdo, It's like, just like, so with our kids, it's like, put them in the environments where they get challenged every stinking day, man. And then that way, and with good people, like, not to, but anyways, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but I look back to that and I'm like, and I know that friend of mine, I know where he is now. It's not good.
Yeah.
And it's like, just fight to death to get your kids in an environment around men, adults, teachers, other students, that their normal is success and happy families and parents that aren't addicted to, anything. And anyways, it's sad what some of these kids go through, and, the opportunity to be at a place like that, especially now with the financial aid. I know Catholic does some financial aid. Shout out to Grace. You need to pick your game up. I need to go and have a meeting with Grace. All right, come on now, Grace, for crying out loud. I don't know what CAK does, but, like, let's get a little diversity. Let's do some more aid stuff. Let's get the sports programs cranked up, and let's get some of these kids that would have never otherwise been able to be in these environments with people to show, oh my gosh, there is different out there. It doesn't have to be this stinking trailer. Mm-hmm. Like, the trailer might be your normal, but change your normal. So, anyways, it fires me up. I met with a kid last night and his mama. Been through a lot, man, like a lot. 17, 18 years old. He didn't sign up for that crap. That's the cards he got. So let's put good men around him and teach him how to be a dog in a good way. Mm-hmm. Anyways, love you guys. Webb, shout out. If these two guys can survive there, it must not be too yuppie. And all our Webb kids are awesome, man. I've enjoyed being around your all's boys because they come in here and they lead my place. And the Jack Wideners of the world, I mean, come on, give me a break. Cam's, he did our soul food shout out last week. Give a Bible verse, which was freaking awesome. Yeah. I mean, they're those 15 to 18-year-old Webb kids. They're kind of, Catholic the same way. I'll give Catholic credit for that. Our kids here from Catholic, our kids here from Webb. For an old boy from Powell, Tennessee, I got to eat crow on the character of these young people from Catholic and Webb and CAK and these private institutions. Like I said, everybody has their issues. Farragut, Bearden, Catholic, Webb, it doesn't matter. But man, I've been fired up about the Webb kids, and they rave about you too.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
What do y'all need? Anything y'all need from me? Call me. Tough one last week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yep. But
But
a lot to grow from, a lot to learn from, and again, the seniors, I can't say enough. And you've mentioned some of them that come in here and work out. Appreciate you and what you've poured into them, because it is a group effort. It's all of us. But again, I just believe in learning off of things that go well and that don't go well, and we need to keep developing and keep growing.
Coach, this guy's got it now. I'm telling you, Webb football is in great hands, man. He's done an unbelievable job. If you're on campus, you get the vibe. You said it earlier. You can feel it, and he's got it going the right direction. So I'm super excited to watch how it grows.
well, we have learned quickly around here. The business model, the model hasn't changed, but me truly understanding post-football career, these kids' schedules. I mean, it's bananas. So to me, we've had to shift. We're not down there banging barbells and they're doing that at school, and we're not. It's a different kind. We've had to adjust and make sure we can supplement these kids to help them grow, and our kids are growing like it's wild. But number one, experience. When they're here, like it's your job to yell and scream. Now, if they aren't leading if our 17-year-olds aren't leading our 12-year-olds correctly here, I'm in that a double quick. But outside of that, just trying to give them that awesome experience here while also teaching them how to train and do things the right way. But in saying that, we've learned that middle school is kind of our honey hole. They're just not as busy. And there's been a little enhancement of middle schoolers that are coming Webb's way lately on the football field. So that away, old buddy. That's what I tell everybody. Quit crying about everybody else and just get better, and kids will want to come play for you.
That's exactly
Shout out to all the coaches out there. Just enough crying, and worrying about everybody else. There's not another gym in town I'm worried about. I'm worried about Triple F being great, man, and all the other gyms. I hope they make millions and millions of dollars. Good for them. But we're going to do what we do, and I'm excited for you, man, because there's people that are getting fired up about Webb football, which is awesome, and you're a big part of that. Believe it or not, my guy. First off, does Bearden and Webb playing basketball?
No.
See, that would have been awesome. Both our boys playing him.
Yes, it would.
We will.
We're going to see each other a lot this upcoming months.
Dom's a junior, right?
Yeah.
You and Coach Parrott get it on the schedule next year, so me and Coach Mahoney can sit on the Bearden side and cheer against Webb. Be awesome.
I'm in.
You'll let us
We got
know.
to get that done.
Sign us up.
Do you wear Bearden clothes to Bearden basketball?
I'm going tonight. I'm wearing this. I'll leave it at that.
I don't even know who we played tonight.
Daniel Boone.
That should be challenging. Yeah. Who'd they play the other night? Beat by 20 points or something?
Carnes.
Sorry, Carnes. Carnes, they're missing their football players, and they beat you by 20. Might be a rough year.
Yeah.
To the Carnes go over here. Look at them laughing. Is that wrong? Sorry, Carnes coach.
You give me hard.
You still Carnes faithful? 100% Webb.
Yeah, I'm 100%.
Where'd you grow up?
Carnes.
Well, I know.
At Level Road.
Yeah.
Grew up on Level Road. Yeah.
School zones have changed so much since then. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's been cool to watch how Knox County's kind of moved, and then all the private schools with the financial aid and the cool ways that we're able to even diversify our private institutions. Yep. Like you said, it wasn't that way 15 years ago. No, it's cool to see Knoxville blend from all sides of town and kind of do life together. And that's a big thing here too. Is I want our Webb and Catholic and Bearden and Farragut and Fulton, and I want all these boys in here together the day before they play each other at their school. It's fun. They're talking trash. They're getting after each other, and then it's bragging rights 2 days later. It's the best. But they love each other, which is cool. So, all right, boys, you're the best. Oh, shout out Peter Brown. Tacos this morning, breakfast tacos.
Wow.
Brown bag.
Put in a plug for breakfast at Brown Bag. Can we get that? Peter, make that happen.
Tell you what, that was outstanding.
You know what's crazy? I had him on a podcast a few weeks ago. He's an adult member. His kid's a member here. He's going to feed all our combine guys in 6 weeks. He's the best. He was literally working at Qdoba. And he's like, speaking of growth mindset and the trailer and understanding that, like, you can reset your normal. Yeah. Don't get stuck. Yeah. Just grow and grind and have big dreams. He was working at Qdoba, man, and was like, there's a better way to do this. God. He's open 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
And then caters the rest of the day. Like, why be open all day and night, and let's make awesome food and have a Chick-fil-A menu, not 57 things on the menu.
Right. Yeah.
Just be great at this, and he's killed it. I mean, you ever go to Brown Bag? You can't get in the place
Every time we're there. Yeah.
He built a new place and still ain't got enough. I mean, it's crazy. I'm having to park in the grass at Wackles if you don't get there right when they open. But Peter Brown, man, my guy, he's awesome. He's a good dude. So breakfast tacos, fire.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Yes.
But Hut. Oh, this is Triple F. Sorry. Can you give me a Hut?
Hut.
How was it coaching football?
Oh, man.
Real quick.
I mean,
how was he?
Big time out of my to go and film and hear this guy talk. I'm like thinking I'm in German class.
We're never gonna end this spot.
We really, and it was awesome because again, I'd missed coaching so much, and I missed the camaraderie as a staff, and it was like he and I just right away. It was like
that was the good part.
We had so much fun right from the jump, and he kind of just took me under his wing and kind of just led me with the Webb way of things and the staff and all, but he was awesome. We had a ball. He was supposed to be director of football operations this past season, and he kind of slipped away from that because he told me as I got hired, he goes, if you want to hire somebody, I'm good. I'll be your DFO or whatever. He never followed up with that. I should have followed through with it.
It is alarming, though, that you took over and he quit. It's unbelievable.
It helped his. It was an upgrade. I
want to get on his staff to just do under the boards boxing out or something. But the way he gets after me, he's not needed. I mean, this guy, I'm telling you, the fire that he had on it. I mean, I'm like, this is me. I love this, man. I mean, it was like, wow. Timeout, came over, got after him, but got after him like you want him to get after him. I mean, he coaches him the right way. The passion, you can't hide it. The kids know it; they see it. I see them in the hallways. I'm like, you guys realize how much he cares? And they're like, yeah.
Oh, they know.
Yeah, and like I said, in the weight room, the culture when they're lifting together, like his kids, I love watching his kids. They're fun to watch. Their attitude, their approach, and it's just it's the way of life.
And I'll tell this, number one, if your kids at this level. And at every level, honestly, as much as it sounds soft, we're men, it is what it is. At every level, you cannot scream and yell at another male unless they 100% know you love them.
Yeah.
It's that simple. If they don't 100% know you love them and you yell at them, it sends them backwards. When they know you love them, it might send them backwards for 30 seconds, but then they're right back moving forwards. Yeah. Whereas if you don't figure out that love piece, man, especially with these teenage boys and everything they're going through and their hormones, and they're trying to figure themselves out. And am I a leader? Am I not a leader? Am I the best player on the team? Am I not the best player on the team? When you and then all of a sudden you're and the love's not there, man, it just doesn't work.
And I think too, if you don't love them, you usually don't last, right? That it usually just doesn't work. Yep. And but we're lucky.
That's so awesome. What you said is spot on. I mean, and it's easy to get after the guys that that they know how much you do care for them. Mm-hmm. And it's funny to see how some of the players react. Like, man, he's getting after so and so, and you're like, I know him like I do. We text quite a bit. And he knows how much he knows how much I pour into him. You okay? How's everything at home? Mm-hmm. Some guys don't know that that's actually going on, so I can get after him the way I do.
And I'll tell you, the most growth that we see out of kids are kids that have parents that understand that. Mm-hmm. And if they know how much you care about their kid. Lucas Walls, we had a kid last year. He's at Sanford now. He's probably the best player I've ever had. His dad coached with me at Oak Ridge, and Lucas was not easy to coach as a freshman and sophomore. Was not easy, and so it was just constant. But his dad understood where we were going with it and let us coach him and push him and drive him. And by the time he was a senior, he's what you want in a high school basketball player and a leader and hopefully prepared for college. And I think Cam's a lot the same way. You know what I mean? I love him dearly, and his mom and dad are awesome people, and they get that we care about him, and so they let us push him. And he's gonna be really good. He already is, but he's going to be really.
Let me share this one because this has been, and the credit goes to Coach Norris. When I got the job, I set up home visits with every senior and met with the seniors and the parents.
I meant to mention that because that's a shout out to you.
But
strong.
But to the point of what we're saying and making is this, and it's going to continue. is you get to know the parents, the home of those people that you are dealing and coaching, and how hard maybe you can coach them, and how many things I left those homes with of notes that I took that I went, this is what's important to this parent. This is what's important to this kid. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It gets back to all that we talked about in this is like, you know what? He just wants to play golf. He wants to play baseball. Football's okay, which is fine. But he gave that idea, and I said, you know what? And I'm going to do it with this rising senior class. I'll do it the next year, the next year, the next year. And just more interaction with the parents to know these are the buttons we have to push. These are the buttons we stay away from because he's not going to react well to that.
So awesome. Like he recommended you do that?
Well, what I did was, real quick, every stop that I made from Tulane to Central Michigan, Cincinnati, I reached out to the linemen's parents, just introduced myself. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, this is Don Mahoney. I'm your son's new line coach. They just had a change. Mm-hmm. Who's coaching my son? They're 6 hours away. So I would just call random and, hey, I just want to introduce myself. I look forward to seeing you at the spring game, blah, blah, blah. Hey, make sure my boy takes care of his academics. Boom, I hung up, I went. I saw the kid next day. I said, talked to your mom last night. School, how is it? Yep. I got the heads up, right? So, but he pushed the button further, as I mentioned, and he goes, how about a home visit? I go, let's go. Hey, you know, we had 16 of them. I just finished the 16th yesterday.
He was upset with me after that one. Hey, quick story on that. So Chuck Carringer, who I worked with at Oak Ridge when you played,
he's literally my business coach.
He's maybe the biggest influence on my life. Yep. God put me in front of him at the right time. Anyway, that's it. I don't want to go down that. But Chuck, when I was at Oak Ridge, we started doing that. Then I got the job, my first head coach at Harriman. So we're going to do home visits. Well, I was a first-year coach. They hadn't been very good. Everybody's wanting to impress the new guy. So I scheduled 3 a night to try to knock them out. Well, all the parents fix us full meals, like full meals with dessert. So me and my assistants ate 3, and you can't say no, right? You cannot say no. So we leave, and my assistant calls me. He's on the side of the road throwing up. It was miserable, but it was, you know, to Coach's point, it's definitely worth the investment in time.
It's awesome, and
huge.
Yeah. And that's why we do our 12-month contracts here, and that's why I tell these parents, like, I don't want to sell you 10 sessions and see your kid 10 times a year. Like, I don't know his life. I need to know if the family dog dies. I need to know if grandpa gets cancer, knock on wood. I need to know all these things because I can't push him and lead him if I don't know. I don't have to know if his girlfriend dumped him or whatever. But, like, we need to do life with these kids if we truly want to develop them. That's the only way it works. And it's impossible for me, not being a school coach, to truly have that without the contracts. We are here together for a year. I'm going to pour into your son. And it's funny you said what you said a minute ago, because one thing that used to piss me off, I've kept my language right, trying to respect Webb here. My son called me out earlier about my language on the podcast. I asked him, what's the one thing Dad fails at? He's like, you cuss all the time. I'm like, sorry, buddy. Mom's worse, right? Anyways, so but it used to piss me off when coaches would always say, I just coach you harder because you're different and you can handle it. I'm like, because I'm tougher, you treat me worse? Mm-hmm. Like, it used to make me so mad. And now as an adult, I'm like, I get it. Yeah. Like, I am in the A double of our elite players. Yeah. I am in the A double of the Cams. Like, I'm in the A double of Jack. I'm in the A, like, these kids that are down, and then you have the Jonathan Wades. And it's like, there's so many different little kids, they're young adult males, but it's like, when you truly know what's going on at home, that's like football, because you know how football coaches can get. It's loud and it's vulgar and it's this and that. And I'm like, hey, man, do you know if he ate dinner last night?
Yeah.
Hey, man, you know if he watched his mom get beaten in front of him last night? Like, do you know anything that's going on? And I'm not saying this is about any coaches specifically. I just mean in general.
Sure.
If you don't know what these kids are going through, don't start cussing at them, man. Like, if you're doing life with them, if you're texting them, if you're close with mom and dad, and you know, and they're just being lazy, and when you jump them, that they know it's out of love. And it's funny, I'll tell you something from a real story real quick. So NALB, No Athlete Left Behind, it's the scholarship program we have here. So most of it's single moms. So I'll do these meetings with these moms and their son, and I'll look at mom and son and I'll say, listen, here's the deal. I'm not your dad. I don't have any interest in being your dad. Your dad already screwed that up. right? The only job that ever really meant anything in life, he screwed up. So not to be hard on your dad, but in my eyes, he's worthless. All right, so there's that. Let's just go and do life together here. If we're going to be real with each other, let's be real. That's the one thing that you have to fix, period. When you're a dad one day, you do not fail your kid, period. End of story, non-negotiable, or we don't need to move on from now. Mm-hmm. And all, of course, because they're heartbroken young men who just want their dad, man.
Yeah.
They just want their dad, and he's not there. Mm-hmm. So, of course, immediately they're like, yes, sir, you got it. And I'm like, all right, second thing. Love from a man is really uncomfortable sometimes. Like, so pucker up, buttercup, because I ain't your mommy either. Like, this is going to be hard. And they're like, I got it. And they love it, you know? But they know what, we start life real, genuine. I warn them of what's coming. I spent 30 minutes finding out everything they kind of been through if I didn't already know, and we build this cool relationship. And it's not saying that I'm cool or awesome, even though I get excited about it. It's like they just love from a man is hard sometimes. It doesn't feel good all the time. It's not friendly all the time. But if you don't know, like if you don't have those home visits and you don't know their life and you don't know how to coach them.
That's right.
Because hard coaching sends some backwards. Hard coaching sends some forwards. Some need to have 90% love and 10% hard. Kids like mine need to be reversed. I needed to be reversed. Don't love on me too much. I'll start abusing it. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy, but once you get to know them, man, you can truly lead these young people in the right way. Anyways, fires me up. You guys are the best. All right, Webb. Who's a baseball coach? I didn't get him over here.
Jordan Wormsley.
I heard a funny story about him the other day that I can't tell on here. Who was it with? It was somebody. It was hilarious. It was my pastor, actually. Yeah. It wasn't anything horrible. It was my pastor was telling me about it from Coach Worms, because this is a Webb guy, right?
Mm-hmm. This is Jordan Clark was at Webb for 30 years.
So this is the son, right?
Jordan's
son.
He
went to Webb, and
yes.
Yeah. I heard a story about it the other day. It was funny about when he was super young.
Yeah.
So I'll get him on here one of these days. But it's cool that all you guys are aligned and do things the right way. And high school is the time that, like, if you do want to decide to one sport it, at that point, you know, but the fact that we have a high school in town that's supporting each other like you guys, and we can't support each other in, 10 new sports, it's like, we'll just keep doing podcasts and screaming about it and hopefully put a dent in it.
Yeah.
And the NIL stuff, don't get me started. Much love to you guys, man. I appreciate it. Hut again.
Yeah.
Hut.
Hut.
Oh.
Pretty good, Coach.
Hut.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. My guys.
That was better.